Tonight, it was media mayhem and public humiliation when her husband Burt Reynolds filed for divorce last spring. But today, Minnesota's own Loni Anderson is back stronger than ever on primetime television.
I never thought I would be a single working mom again, but it's not a foreign land. I've done it before, and I can do it again.
He turned his legendary football career with the Minnesota Vikings into television success as a sports commentator and game show host. But 7 years later, Ahmad Rashad says the best move he ever made was marrying former Cosby star Felicia Ayres Allen.
I found like the perfect woman, and to this day, I don't understand why she married me.
Number 32, Christian Laettner.
Christian Laettner's first love may be basketball, but the Timberwolves star forward has an equally strong affection for animals. It's a soft side of this towering athlete that's rarely seen and often misunderstood.
You shouldn't have preconceived notions about how someone's going to act, and when they don't act that way and then go crazy, because I think that's just what happened last year. People weren't used to what I was doing.
Good evening, everyone, and thanks for joining us. We're in a rather romantic setting tonight because most of our guests talk about their love lives. Timberwolves star and the Twin Cities' most eligible bachelor, Christian Laettner, says he's hoping to meet the love of his life one day soon. Ahmad Rashad, the former Viking, has found true love with his wife, Felicia. And Loni Anderson, who thought she was married to Prince Charming, has recently suffered through the painful breakup of her marriage to Burt Reynolds. You'll hear from them all. And also Harvey Mackay, the local author who doesn't appear to have time for romance because he's too busy teaching the world how to swim with the sharks.
It's hard to comprehend that there are 7 million books out in the marketplace, distributed in 80 countries.
But do you, Harvey, get addicted to the kind of attention, the kind of excitement, the kind of travel that all of this has brought you?
The constant, immediate, unfiltered feedback from the marketplace does keep me going.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
This is show number 49, Dress Show. This is 9/10/93.
Loni Anderson, the eternally glamorous actress, is back in front of the cameras.
I wish I could be more modest, but then I'd have to throw out my entire wardrobe. Anyway.
The new star of Nurses, who took a 5-year hiatus to focus on her marriage to Burt Reynolds and their adopted son Quentin, says now she's thrilled to be back at work, especially after Reynolds abruptly and very publicly walked out on their marriage. But far from being sad or depressed about the breakup, Anderson appeared radiant and upbeat when I spoke with her last fall in Hollywood on the set of her new sitcom.
You seem like you're having a great time, Loni.
Yes, I am.
This is a good... It's a wonderful group of people from the management down, and the cast is warm and generous. I must say, I've come into their show after they've been on the air for 2 years. Now, why Nurses? Was this something that, did you look at that part and say, boy, I know I could do that, this is where I could fit? No, they came to me, as a matter of fact. They asked me if I would be interested, and at that time I'd been turning down maybe about 2 series a year. After WKRP, I'm spoiled, and the characters are so nice, and nice is kind of boring. And here's an offer of 22 on the air in an established show, plus the kind of character I've been wanting to play, somebody not very nice. And not boring, right? Yeah, not boring. She's flawed, and what a nice opportunity for me, with everything that was happening in my life, to come back to half-hour comedy, which is my very favorite.
Loni's life was turned upside down this summer when Reynolds filed for divorce. Overnight, Hollywood's favorite couple became fodder for the tabloids, with every intimate detail of their life together analyzed, criticized, and publicized on newspaper and magazine covers all across the country. In spite of it all, the couple vowed to keep it civil, until Burt went on national television.
I call her cheating on me.
What do you think about the fact that Burt Reynolds has been so public about it and really has kind of waged a campaign against you through the tabloids and through various television shows.
Again, my son is watching, and I really don't have anything to say about that at all.
Lonnie has continued to maintain her silence about life with Burt Reynolds, a position that has made her even more popular with the public as she faces a court battle over her financial settlement and the custody of her son.
You have a strength, a real inner strength. You seem to have that.
Yes.
And in the face of all this adversity, you seem stronger, Lonnie.
Yes, well, I think I had a very strong and close family, a very close relationship with my father, who was a very strong man. And even my mother said, both of my parents died in their 50s, so I lost them quite early. And she said, when she was dying, she said, "You're just like your father. You're so strong." So I guess that's a good thing.
You also, it seems to me, have to surround yourself with people that you trust.
Oh, absolutely. As a matter of fact, all my girlfriends from high school called me just recently and said, "We're boating down the St. Croix, and we have this phone on the boat, and we thought about you." And I said, "I'm so jealous. I wish I were there." And they said, "We just wanted to tell you that we love you, and we're thinking of you, and I know that I can go back anytime."
We have called Lonnie more recently than ever because I think with some of the things that have gone on this summer, she's had a difficult time this summer, and we feel that we want to be supportive.
There was a big ad in the paper. A real estate company had said, "Lonnie, come on home, we've got a house for you here." And I thought she just loved that when she knew that was in a Sunday paper.
Diane Horvath and Gail Lasham were Lonnie's closest childhood friends growing up in St. Paul. They remember Lonnie as a standout at Alexander Ramsey High School, someone who had what it takes. Lonnie proved them right, collecting an assortment of local titles, including Miss Roseville, Miss Country Style Ford, Miss Good Grooming, and Miss Tom McCann.
You just knew, though. I mean, if you look at the wedding pictures and you see her, you see that she looks different than everyone else. She holds herself differently. She had a very good direction. She knew what she wanted, and she was going to go for it, and she was going to go at a slow pace.
She was always in modeling schools, always doing different photo shoots, and she was always in the limelight.
Now, where was this take? Oh, this was at the AIDS benefit, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. That was in February.
This is my home state, my hometown and everything, so I wanted to be here. And I really think that we're so involved, especially in our industry, with AIDS and helping people with AIDS and making people aware and giving money to it and doing research so we can find some kind of end to it. And so I would go anywhere for that. And this was the perfect place. It's such a beautiful area. The cities are so beautiful. There's a sense of a real family here that I don't think the West Coast has. I actually love the snow. I still love to ice skate, and I visit my daughter in Lake Tahoe and cross-country ski, and I am a snowmobile fanatic.
When you come back to Minnesota, it must give you time to reflect on really what you've accomplished. I mean, starting out at Old Log.
It does, and I was thinking about Chanhassen, where I did Fiddler on the Roof forever with my black hair.
She had a real warmth on stage, and I thought she connected with audiences very well. I just mean that I think she was capable of doing a lot of different kinds of things as opposed to being stereotyped in sort of bimbo role she too often gets to play now, because she's not a bimbo.
Gary Gisselman directed Lonnie in Chanhassen Dinner Theater's original run of Fiddler on the Roof back in 1971, a play that was revived this season for the company's 25th anniversary celebration.
That production of Fiddler has great memories for many of us because the theater was in trouble at the time, and we opened it hoping it would run for 12 weeks. And when it ran for 53 weeks, that was a great surprise and a great boon for all of us, you know, and it was the beginning of the long runs at Chanhassen.
I saw her in plays. First of all, she was obviously tremendously attractive. She had very striking jet black hair, but the thing I remember most is she was totally unspoiled.
Wendell Anderson met Lonnie at a St. Paul department store when they were both young and single. The former Minnesota governor says he was immediately smitten.
Were you surprised when she sort of burst on the scene as a blonde bombshell?
I can't imagine anybody wanting to cover her beautiful brunette hair, but that's somebody else's decision.
But you found her more attractive as a brunette, it sounds.
You could not improve on that.
If you've ever wondered whatever became of me.
Lonnie had played blondes on the local Twin Cities theater circuit. But in 1978, when she landed a part in Hollywood as the blonde bombshell on a new sitcom called WKRP, the hair color became permanent, and the rest, as they say, is history.
You got a steno pad?
Johnny,
I'm sorry.
I have a message pad.
Fine.
From the time I was a little girl, this is what I wanted to do.
You just knew that?
I just knew it. I was in every little theater group that ever came along.
But did you think that it was going to result in the kind of stardom that you've had?
No, I just wanted to be an actress. And the celebrity was something I never even thought of having to deal with. I never thought I would be. And so I wasn't prepared when it happened. And I kind of had this false impression that perhaps I could be a celebrity today and then be anonymous tomorrow. And then the next day when I chose to be a celebrity again, I could do that. And that I would have control over it instead of it having control over me. Surprise.
It doesn't work that way, does it?
Doesn't work that way.
Yeah. Is it hard to deal with the celebrity end of it?
Yes, you give up all of your anonymity. I'd say sometimes I think I'll put on a disguise and I'll go somewhere because my daughter would say, oh, let's all go to Disneyland, but we won't take Mom. You know, or let's go here, but let's leave Mom at home. That it hurt me, and yet I understood it. The fact that this is probably the only profession in the world where your family also becomes a celebrity, and they have to put up with it.
Well, you certainly have a gift with this new granddaughter. How did you feel about becoming a grandmother?
I think it's fabulous. My grandmother had gray hair from the time I can remember, and she wore sensible shoes, you know, and a
Smart
house dress.
woman.
And I think that grandmothers, we have to change the face of grandmotherhood.
Well, you certainly have done that,
yeah,
Lonnie.
Yeah.
Now, the calendar you did with the older women?
Yes, it's 39 and holding, all women over 40. I thought, wouldn't it be fun if there was a calendar of women over 40 who it's a more realistic image for us, and who felt great, looked great, had a good sense of humor about themselves, and then the proceeds would go to AIDS. And I really didn't know what I was getting into, because it's a big undertaking, and it's taken 2 years. We have 12 fabulous women. You have to have a good sense of humor, good sense of self. And
you have to look like you look.
Well,
that's the key.
Work hard at that. But I thought they should be women in our industry who had longevity, and that people would really identify with.
Has this business changed for women over 40?
Very much.
Do you think it's easier now?
It's still terrible, but it's certainly a lot better than it was. Only 8% of us in our union are working, which is too bad.
Does that worry you?
Yes, it does. I mean, I think it's just going to get better. But our earning potential, our peak years between 20 and 30, are the same earning potential, the same peak years as men between 50 and 60.
There are a lot of young, aspiring Minnesota actresses that are going to be watching this. What advice for them?
Well, you have to be able to take a lot. I mean, you have to love it. If you don't love it, get out now, because there's going to be more heartache than there will be the exhilarating times. And it's a profession in which you're always looking for a job. So you really have to love it, be devoted to it, and know that you're going to have a lot of hard knocks.
I had read that you always wanted to be, was it Snow White?
Snow White, yes. In my heart.
Mm-hmm.
Inside this blonde head. There's a little dark-haired girl. Yeah, right.
The little Snow White.
Yeah, ever since I was little.
Do you and you wanted to find Prince Charming, and at one point you thought you had. Do you still believe in the
yes, yes. I'm an eternal optimist, and I think bitterness is so unattractive, and so I will keep being an eternal optimist, and I'll come back to Minnesota.
Lonnie's story appears to have a happy ending. People magazine recently reported that she's fallen in love again, this time with a prominent Los Angeles attorney. When we phoned Lonnie to find out if it was true, she confirmed that Snow White may have indeed found the real Prince Charming this time.
Still ahead, it was a hero's welcome and an emotional return for Christian Laettner when the Timberwolves played at Duke University last month. But first, catching up with Ahmad Rashad. 7 years ago, Pat talked to the former Viking about his recent wedding. Tonight, hear from the woman who made his dreams come true, Broadway and television actress Phylicia Rashad.
So, coming up, the absolutely most attractive, intelligent, athletic, manly man of all. Don't get too excited, ladies, because he is married to me. But you can look.
When a Pat Miles special returns.
What do you see for yourself in the future?
I hope more of the same. Right now, I want to do the sports thing. I think after the Olympics, then I'll make more career decisions.
7 years ago, I talked with former Viking Ahmad Rashad outside his New York apartment about his budding career as an NBC sportscaster and his recent marriage to Cosby star Felicia Ayres Allen. They were starting a family, and he was on his way overseas with the plum assignment to host part of NBC's Olympic coverage in Seoul, South Korea. Today, Ahmad is still juggling the demands of a network job. He spends more than 300 days a year on the road, now hosting the basketball program Inside Stuff and a new game show taped in Las Vegas called Caesar's Challenge. And while he says not much has changed for him, I found Ahmad to be much more reflective about life and even more anxious to enjoy the people and perks his celebrity status has afforded him.
I'm more relaxed now, I think, about things, and I think that's mainly due to my wife.
What about your sports career?
My sports career?
You're still going to do Inside Stuff this year?
I've always been a big fan of basketball. I like Inside Stuff, the show, because we have a lot of fun with that, too. That's also a fun show. Football, I want to move into play-by-play. And right now, I've been told that that's not available to me. So I'll wait until I have that opportunity.
Do you still follow the Vikings?
Not as much as I used to. I noticed that somebody's wearing my number, though. That's very disappointing to me.
Who is it? I don't even know.
I have no clue. That's even worse.
You really are following the
That's right.
Vikings.
Whoever he is, I'm sure he's a fine player. I don't want him to be upset at me because I'm saying this. I'm only kidding. I follow the Vikings because that's still my team. You know, that's the team I played for.
Ahmad shot to stardom as a player for the Vikings from 1976 through 1982. He became a legendary wide receiver whose Hail Mary catch at the old Met Stadium back in 1980 will go down in history.
Do you miss it?
Nah, I never missed it when I left. Most athletes don't go out on their own. They either get cut or they get traded or they get hurt. But I felt like I pretty much orchestrated my professional career, and when I left on my own terms.
When you look back at your football career, what one thing were you most proud of?
Consistency. I was very consistent. I was good every Sunday.
God-given ability, or?
Oh, sure. Without question, it was God-given ability. But it was ability that if you didn't hone, it would have went away. I think I was very dedicated to the game, but I also think that I have been dedicated to life, too, the same way. I put the same energies in living as I did in playing sports. All right, so then that's where they put all the words up there. This is where Dan stands.
So tell us about the show, Caesar's Challenge. How did that start? And
they called my house and they said, we want you to host a game show. I can't do it. My muscle's not really right. See? 2 hands. So I stand over here. And these are the answers to the questions that I pretend like I already know. Right here. See, they're all in this here. And this is where you see the people's names. You know, when you try to pretend like you really know the people, you don't really know them. You can kind of look at them and say their name.
She's an accounting clerk who's interested in dump digging.
What?
Dump digging.
See, we had to establish a rapport. And if he looks at me as his coach, that's fine.
Check, baby, check, baby. See, that's the way you should do that.
Caesar's Challenge! Ladies and gentlemen, Ahmad Rashad!
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Caesar's Challenge. Before I go any further, I've never wanted to get pigeonholed in anything. Pick a letter. And then at NBC, I always try to do a lot of different things. So the game show was not a stretch for me.
is it fun? I mean, are you enjoying it?
I'm having a good time. I have fun with people. And I think that might be my strength, my interaction with people and having a chance to be, to ad-lib as much as I want to. Fun is the catchword, I guess, so I'm enjoying it.
What's life like today? I mean, give us a schedule.
Too busy.
You're
too
away a
busy.
lot, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm too busy. And I've been saying that for about 3 or 4 years. Every year I say I'm not going to do as much. Next year I'm going to cut down, and I haven't done that. That's a big negative.
How often are you gone? I mean, are you traveling all the time?
Yeah. I think last year I figured out that I worked 332 days or something like that.
Well, how are you keeping your family life together then?
I catch red eyes. I go home from wherever it is. If I work in LA, it doesn't matter. I catch a plane back home that night. You know, that's the commitment I guess you make.
You had just gotten married when we last talked in New York. And what it's, you, 7th anniversary? 8th?
8th.
8th.
It'll be 8 this year.
So how's everything going?
Good, wonderful. I mean, I found like the perfect woman. And to this day, I don't understand why she married me.
He's a lot of fun. A lot of fun. And he really is a deep thinker. But he's light about it. He looks at things squarely, but he's always light about it. And he's very direct.
Ahmad's wife, Felicia, is the former Cosby star, Claire Huxtable. She's also a well-known Broadway actress who recently headlined in Jelly Roll's Last Jam. She and Ahmad will celebrate their 8th anniversary next month, but they still appear as romantic as they were when Ahmad proposed marriage on national television.
Felicia, would you marry me?
Yes.
I'm cool.
Is he going to slow down?
No.
You going to make him?
No. It's a lot of work for him, but he's happy in it. And it's what he's always wanted to do. And things are going very well. And I'm very pleased to have him happy in his work.
Do you ever see the two of you moving at some point in your lives to Minnesota?
Oh, I could do that. I could do that. We talk about that sometimes.
Because he's kept his home there.
Mm-hmm. It's a wonderful environment for him. He comes alive in another way. He's absolutely comfortable and relaxed. He likes Minnesota. Minnesota is nice. I think it's America's best kept secret.
Ahmad has kept his house in Minnesota and still plays an important role in the community. Last summer, he hosted a charity golf tournament with Christian Laettner to raise money for the Minneapolis Children's Medical Center. He brought his best friend, comedian Bill Murray, along and says he plans to be back next year.
Minnesota was so good to me that I feel like Minnesota's home, like a home base for me. And I never know, I could live in Minnesota. I really, somewhere down the line, if I got the right job, you know, that would be one way to stop all this traveling and moving around. If I got the right job, I could live in Minnesota. I'll never give up my house there. I love going there.
So what do you see for yourself down the line? I mean, where do you want to be then when I come back in 7 years?
Let's see. I want to be doing play-by-play.
NBC, let him do play-by-play.
And I want to have had my shot at hosting a football show. And I don't want to sit here and tell you how much I've been traveling. I refuse. I'm not going to travel that much. I have to. I want to start enjoying some of the things that I've had a chance to accumulate. I want to enjoy my home. I want to enjoy watching my daughter grow up. You know, going to her plays. I got a chance to do a lot of that this year. I don't have any big, huge aspirations. I just want to continue doing the same and hopefully do things as well as I've been doing them and enjoy myself.
Coming up,
I think the people that know me the best right now are my teammates.
Timberwolves star Christian Laettner talks about his quiet life off the court in his suburban Twin Cities home. And next, voted one of the world's top 5 speakers by Toastmaster International, Harvey Mackay's gift for gab has made a big splash. The best-selling author of Swim with the Sharks is on circuit with his 3rd book, a new software company, and a nationally syndicated column.
It's Marketing 101.
When a Pat Miles special comes right back.
I like coaching. I like teaching. I enjoy putting an enterprise together. Always wanted to be an entrepreneur. Still have trouble spelling the word, but that's exactly what I wanted to be.
Harvey Mackay is the quintessential entrepreneur, and he's made a fortune selling himself. His first book, How to Swim with the Sharks, ended up on the New York Times bestseller list and turned Harvey into a one-man motivational mogul. Today, he earns thousands of dollars each week crisscrossing the country, telling the nation's top executives how to be more successful.
35% of all Americans think they're dead-ended, unhappy with their jobs. Doesn't have to be so.
Whether he's inciting an audience to sell, marketing his latest book, or hawking season tickets for the hometown team, Harvey is a man on a mission.
You see, my antenna's up. I mean, I hate to go to sleep. Why? Because I might miss something. And I don't ever intend to retire. I want to be alive. I want to be vibrant. I want to be vital. I just don't want to go brain dead.
Are you afraid, Harvey, that you would go brain dead if you didn't keep this pace up?
Well, to me, it's not a pace. I mean, to other people, it would be a whirlwind pace. Yeah, find something you love to do, and you'll never have to work a day in your life, which, of course, my father taught me.
The elder Mackay was known as an earthy, humble man who spent his life in the background. But Harvey decided early on the limelight was where he belonged. As a child in grade school, he quickly earned the nickname Super Salesman, a label that stuck after he built a little-known Twin Cities company into one of the nation's premier envelope manufacturers.
It's two envelopes into one, with the pocket, with the panel cut, and believe it or not, no envelope company in the country has figured out how to do it on a machine.
Characteristically, high-profile community causes have been a magnet for Harvey. He was a tireless orchestrator behind getting the Dome Stadium built in Minneapolis.
I'd like to purchase 20,000 $6 seats for May 16th.
And to keeping the Twins baseball team in Minnesota back in 1984. So it wasn't coincidence when the Gophers called on Harvey this fall to head their football ticket drive.
Here's one of our finest boosters. They just bought 100 tickets. Great. Artie, that's 100 tickets you just shook hands with. 100 season tickets. Thanks for all the help.
My pleasure.
Okay, appreciate it. We'll be in touch to...
My father spent a quarter of his life in volunteerism, and that's the environment that I grew up in.